All right, so system one of the Shineponics stuff. There's a board with some code. It's attached to this relay with a circuit attached to this solenoid that is currently programmed to activate every 30 seconds for 10 seconds. And that code is all controlled on the cloud, which can be changed from my laptop over there, and you can see it's just stopped. And now we've got a little drippage. I mean, you can see this is definitely not the neatest experiment, but it seems to be working. So we're gonna test run this on the balcony. Hell yeah.
Hello. So I'm actually in a pub in East London right now, in the top floor, lovely afternoon, and I'm waiting to meet some friends, so I figured I would take the time to record this little Shineponics update. You will have seen from the working little demo video that played just before this that the whole system is actually working. So what I want to do is I want to show you what's actually happening in that system, how is it working, and what are we going to do next? What's the next operation? How are we going to test this, and then what are we going to build afterwards? So if you take a look at this diagram right here, it shows you how the cloud and device interaction happens. So what happens is that a device gets set up when it's plugged in, the setup function runs, it calls its little sensors, it figures everything out. Then runs the connect function. The connect function is the first instance that a device will actually talk to the cloud and say, hey, I'm here, do you know about me? Do you have the correct sensors that match what I have set up? And the cloud goes, oh yes, I've got you in my system, here you go, have a nice HTTP code saying that you're okay, I also like your authentication token, you've been set up correctly, I'm happy for you to connect, and it returns the last moment that a poll was made and how often the device should then poll. The device can then take this data and it can use the last polling date with the polling interval to see when should it next poll. So every second or so, it queries itself, do I need to poll yet? Do I need to poll yet? And when it realizes, oh yes, I do need to poll, it runs all of its sensor functions, gathers all of its sensor data, sends them up to the cloud. The cloud receives that, and the cloud is expecting to receive this sensor data from more than one device. The cloud is expecting more than one device to make a request because the systems are made up of more than one single device. So what happens is when a device requests, that connection is kept alive and held on the server for a second, while it waits 1 second for everything to have an opportunity to request. The new system state is collected from all of the requests that came, saved, and then all of the requests get that new system state, and any device that has control actions can calculate what control actions it should take based on that new state that has been created in the cloud. Once the control actions have been created, the cloud sends them back down to each device, and the devices then take their control actions, and then they repeat, and they wait for the next poll from that polling interval that they have received from the connect function. And this is how the whole system works in principle. It's actually quite simple. It's just taken a while to make it all happen. So what is this current system doing now? Well, it's actually running in a very, very simple configuration. It's just running one device because I'm trying to limit the power usage. I don't want to run out of power or juice in my solar powered battery bank by powering 2 devices at once just yet. We're going to test run with one device. Now I'm going away to Iceland for a week. So what's going to happen is this one device is going to poll probably every 10 minutes up to the server. The server will check what time of day it is, and if it is late enough in the day between certain hours, the server will tell the device here to open the water valve that we just saw in that video, so that water can go down into the balcony farm and water my beautiful tomatoes. Now, of course, this is a pretty basic system, and you could do this with just a basic scheduler. You don't need this whole complicated cloud state solution to do this. The intention is to operate much more complicated systems. That's where having something like a soil moisture sensor plugged into the ground would work extremely well, because that could actually live monitor the conditions of the soil and only open the water valve if the soil was moist, and I do have the parts for that. So we will probably upgrade the system when I return from Iceland, but for now I'm going to leave it in this basic configuration. Of course, we can then use this cloud state to manage much more complex systems, things like hydroponics walls, mushroom growing chambers, aeroponic potato chambers, all kinds of things. And this is what I want to start building next. So that is all coming soon. For now, I will leave you with my balcony smart farm in its most basic state. We're going to leave it like this running for a week and see how it gets on.